Well, it's been over an hour, Paul. We haven't even talked about Elon Musk yet.
I know. That little button on. I know, but there's so much going on there.
There's so
And,
much going on.
you talk to some of these shareholders and the sell side analysts that have been recommending this company, recommending this technology, recommending this management team.
Yeah.
Boy, they're understandably upset.
Well, let's talk to a shareholder now, someone who has been following Tesla for a while. His name is Gary Black. You don't seem too pleased with Elon Musk right now.
We look at Tesla, and it's got great fundamentals. As EV adoption, global EV adoption, right now it's about 10% global. We think it'll be 60% by 2030. Tesla earnings should explode. And, from a fundamental standpoint, we're looking for about $7 in earnings next year, which kind of puts Tesla at about an 18 PE, which is about where the S&P is, but it's growing earnings at 40 to 50% a year. But it's the noise from Twitter and Elon tweeting out his political views and all the drama that is killing the stock right now, and we just have to stomach it and wait till that ends.
Well, it's interesting, Gary. I mean, Tesla is theoretically a publicly traded company. It is public shareholders, board of directors. As a shareholder, are you frustrated that no one entity, no one person, whether no board is able to rein in Mr. Musk?
I believe that the reason you saw this Twitter poll that came out Sunday night where he said, should I step down from Twitter as CEO? I think the board pressured him to do it. I've been on 2 public boards. I've been a CEO. I know very few public boards that will allow somebody to moonlight as a CEO at another company. I certainly wasn't able to do it. And, with Twitter, he's basically rebuilding it from the ground up. So I've, written letters to the board. I've, not been an activist because we don't practice that style of management. But I'm frustrated. I know Leo Kogoin, who's the 3rd largest individual shareholder after Elon, and Larry Ellison has voiced his frustrations. Many of us are frustrated, but I believe that the board is trying to pressure Elon in a nice way, in a constructive way, I'll say, to do the right thing, which is to step off the Twitter board, bring in a new CEO, and focus on Tesla. Tesla has a clear path to being a $3 trillion company because of FSD, because of EV adoption, because of all the new product launches coming, like Cybertruck. There's a $30,000 EV coming. And yet, it's from a stock standpoint, it's failing miserably because of all the Twitter noise. So I do believe they're trying to do something about it. I don't think that poll would have just showed up out of nowhere on Sunday night unless the board was pressuring him to step down.
Gary, did you vote in the poll?
Of course, I voted yes. And look, one of the debates is, did Elon know the results beforehand? I think he viewed that he was going to win, meaning that people would say, no, don't step down, because he was tweeting all throughout the poll, like, be careful what you wish for, and nobody can do this, nobody would be foolish enough to take this job. And, that's partially true because he has vowed to stay on as the head of, I think, software and I don't know what he calls it, but servers. And look, we can go through the names of people who I think could be interested, but if I'm one of those people, I don't know if I would want to sign up if he's going to be very, very involved. And, and look, what he's done, again, I'm voicing my frustration. I'm not knocking the guy because he's brilliant. But, he has basically blamed the Tesla stock price decline on the Fed raising interest rates.
Yeah.
And that's just not true. If you look at Tesla's stock price this year, through September 30th, they were actually outperforming NASDAQ. They were down 25, but NASDAQ was down 33. Since October 1st, Tesla is down 52, and NASDAQ is down 3. And, what has happened in that time is they missed on third quarter volumes because of China, and that's, again, their own fault because they didn't have a $30,000 EV, one. And then two, he took possession of Twitter and then, made a series, I'd say, of mistakes at running Twitter. And, he angered a lot of the advertisers by saying, if you leave, I'm going to name and shame you. That's not the way you treat an advertiser. And then there was a constant action that, created a lot of drama. Like when they launched that Twitter Blue and, they didn't think it through and people signed up, and then you had things like, Super Mario putting his middle finger up, and if you're an advertiser, that's what you're most concerned about, product adjacency. So I just think the drama's got to stop. And then, the third thing is him tweeting out constantly his political beliefs. That's fine. He can have his political beliefs, but you're gonna anger the very when you accuse people of having woke mind virus and stuff, words like that. You're basically angering the very people that you're trying to get to buy EVs. And so the big question that we have, and everybody's trying to figure out, and this is why I think the stock is getting hammered, is the Tesla EV brand taking a hit because of all this Twitter drama? And I would say I don't believe so. But the more he stays on Twitter and keeps tweeting out, stuff, I think the more likely it is that the EV brand takes a hit, and it becomes no longer cool to drive Teslas anymore. It becomes almost like I don't know. It's people will be embarrassed if he doesn't knock it off.
So, Gary, given that backdrop, who in their right mind would take the job as CEO? Do you have any thoughts as to, I don't know, who might take that job? Because they're not even really going to be the CEO.
Yeah, well, look, the people who are qualified, if Elon would let them do the job, Sheryl Sandberg, ex-Facebook, could clearly do it. Brett Taylor, he's ex-CRM, Salesforce.com. He was the co-CEO. He could do it. Marissa Mayer, ex-Google, and Yahoo could do it. But, you need somebody who really can regain the trust of advertisers. You need somebody who's proven they can monetize a user base, because Elon has said he wants more user fees and he wants to do more e-commerce. You need somebody with, the tech passion, because Elon is not going to hire somebody unless they're technologically, they have good tech skills. You need somebody with strong financial acumen, because the company's got huge debt. And then you need somebody who can lead the troops. And then I would add a sixth factor. You need somebody who compliments Elon, that Elon respects and shares his vision and his work ethic. And look, there's probably a handful of people in the world that can do all those six things, but it can't be somebody who's just there are a lot of names being thrown around, that is just a tech person, who has a YouTube podcast and talks about technology, which some of the names out there have said that. That's crazy. People won't respect that. So I think there are people out there, but will Elon give the person enough room to actually make decisions and, do what they need to do if he's going to still be involved? I think that's the challenge. And look, during the interview process, that's what you figure out. And I've worked for, entrepreneurs before as CEO. That's something you have to figure out. Will the person give you room to make decisions or not?
And Gary, just a little bit more of a technical Wall Street question. Do you have any knowledge of some of these stock sales from Elon Musk? Were they solely, primarily to raise cash to support the debt, or were they potentially margin calls from investment banks where he may have pledged his stock as collateral?
No, they weren't margin calls. I know that because he doesn't margin himself up that much. And look, there was $7.5 billion worth of Tesla. Elon sold $7.5 billion worth of stock since he took over Twitter. So since October 27th, he sold 41 million shares. And what I gather from both talking to people and listening to him on podcasts, that is going into Twitter. It's partly to refinance some of the debt, which is very expensive. There's about $3 billion of debt that is 11.75%. And plus, I think, he's mentioned this, it's burning cash at the rate of about $3 billion, while he's cut about half the people out. Actually, more than that.
All right, Gary, unfortunately, we have to go. We have to catch up with you next year.